is now becoming a fashion. So tomorrow the leadership of COSATU will go to a conference of the ANC, they will get bored. Tomorrow they'll go to the conference of the SSCP, or the SSCP goes to COSATU, it gets bored. We must find a proper platform where we can ventilate issues that we think they are making us to not see things the same way. So our view is that we must strengthen the alliance, and when we get out of the conference, we need to also reconfigure our alliance. The issue of the we want to encourage government to continue negotiating with COSATU on the issue of the salaries increment. That the government must negotiate with COSATU back in their mind, knowing that COSATU is an ally of the ANC. We can't tell them how they must negotiate, but we are just reminding them that when they negotiate with COSATU, they must know that COSATU is one of ally. So they must negotiate and find each other. I think the issue of the land expropriation, we're still going to reiterate the conference resolution of the 54th National Conference. We want the expropriation of land without compensation. We need to move with speed. Our people back at home, they don't have the land. And I think from our position is that the issue of the economy needs to be looked at. If you look at the standard of living, the fuel, the cooking oil, everything is very high. Now, we must step in as government to try and help our people, because the ANC mainly relies on the working class and the poor. Immediately we start to veer away from those two categories. As the ruling party will have problems. So that is how, and we are agreeing with ANCKZN, that is how we must approach the conference. On the issue of the leadership, yes, the two provinces have got their positions. We are lobbying each other up until to the door of the conference. So we are still open for persuasion. We are also trying also to persuade our comrades from KZN. So that is our position, and thank you very much.
ANC members they differ in terms of the about the issue of step aside. All provinces, what is your view about step aside? That is the white line. That is the white line. I knew. That is the white line. That is the white line. You hear all these things of ESCOM. You want that headline. So Pala will answer.
Okay. No, thank you very much. You see, we are told that there are people who are stealing coal, and there are people who are tampering with our power stations when there is load shedding. We are told of those two things. And we have got police, we have got intelligence systems in our country. We can't be held ransom by coal mafias for 2 years. And when we have got law enforcement agencies. When we're saying the government must step in, we are saying with regard to the issue of the coal mafia, we must dedicate a team, law enforcement agencies, which can look at the issue of the coal mafias. People who are stealing coal and people who are stealing diesel that is supposed to be supplied to ESCO. But as well, there is an issue of the capacity of the board to oversight on the ESCOM executive. We don't agree with a board which is very passive, which can't hold the CEO, the rater accountable. And our view is that in the interest of this community, we think the board quickly must finalize the issue of the rate for us to be able to move as a country forward. Because we don't think if you change the board and you leave the rater, you have solved the problem. We think you must the issue of the rater must be dealt with very quickly. On the issue of step aside, you must understand that the two provinces have got cases. So we know when we say there are people who are abusing the step aside rule, we say it with facts that we got cases of people who were told to step aside because there were rumors and allegations. Because normally this rule was being changed as and when you go. So immediately, then there were rumors, they stepped aside. Talking about the case of Limpopo, step aside. Then there were rumors that were being alleged to other comrades. They were saying, no, rumors are no longer working. We need people who are charged. And members of media and society, you know about these things. We are not fabricating. And then the rules were changed. Oh, they said, no, it's people who are charged, it's fine, all right? Or people who are charged, they can contest, but they can't be in the conference. When Limpopo is supposed to go to its conference, again, rules were changed. No, if you are charged, you can't contest. And during that time, there were other leaders who contested. And our position as the province is that this policy is being applied inconsistently. It's not being applied consistently. And there are comrades who, this policy has got eyes. And the ANC can't have a policy which has got eyes. We must have a policy for all our members. And you can't have a policy where you adjust it willy-nilly without having proper reasons because there is somebody that you think, it can contest and then you say, no, you are barring people from contesting. And that is our view with regard to step aside. We think we'll still go to that conference and try to engage other delegates about these things, this rule of step aside. Remember, we are not promoting immorality. We are not promoting the issue of corruption. But if that rule can be strengthened to a point where it is going to be applied consistently, as the province of Limpopo will not have a problem. But we've got a problem with it with its current form. We think it's being manipulated, and we need, if we want to continue with it, we need to tighten it. If we are able to convince conference to say, but we can, as a movement, we can be able to move forward without these things. If the conference agrees with us, we'll still be fine with us. But we think at its current form, it will not work. And that is our position.
That's what you do. You don't eat orange alone. You eat it with your siblings. You people of Omafika, Baganyukaswele, they are not used to this thing. No, thanks. I think we once made this point about ESCOM. You see, if you go to the roadmap document, electricity roadmap issued by the Department of Public Enterprises in 2019, it lists 3 major factors that they think they affect ESCOM, and they are resulting in a huge load shedding. Firstly, it appreciates that the capacity of the grid that is there is in fact is in excess. We got more grid than what the country needs a day. That one is not a problem. Then they then list 3 major factors that they think affects their performance of providing electricity 24 hours, daily, second, minute, hour, day, weekly, and monthly. They say one of them is shortage of coal. Meaning they don't buy coal. Not that it's short in the country. They are stupidly not buying coal. Because if you go to Richards Bay, for example, you go there, you'll see every day trucks, tons and tons of coal are exported to other countries, to Europe, to China. Now, the shortage of coal is not that it's short in the country. It's that they stupidly don't buy coal. That's their own deficiency. Secondly, they say they buy substandard coal and put it to coal-fired plants. Then they destroy their own systems because they put substandard coal with stones. Then they destroy their own system. That is their stupidity. Secondly, they say they don't do quality routine maintenance. It's another stupidity that they do. And you know who's that stupid? It's ANCKZN, who's the CEO. Is that stupid? Now you remove the board, which is good. We must applaud the president because he listened to us. We said he must remove the board, and you can see the board's got multi-skill. But I can tell you the board will fail. Will fail because they got someone who doesn't know what to do at ESCOM. ANCKZN. The problem is ANCKZN. They should have fired ANCKZN, and I agree with Nopala. They should have fired ANCKZN. Once they fire ANCKZN, they got someone who knows how to run this thing. Then they deal with these three major factors that affects their system. Then we'll have no problem in the country. But I think ANCKZN said it. He's not interested to resuscitate ESCOM. He said it's a dead horse. He believes that renewables, because remember he doesn't even understand these things. He believes that renewables can help us. And renewables, if I can tell you, are like a spare wheel. You can't rely on a spare wheel. The car must have 4 wheels, then have a spare wheel. In case this one burst, you cannot have 4 wheels, then you rely on a spare wheel, you think the car will move. It will not work like that. Then renewables are not the source of running electricity, provision of electricity, are a spare wheel, if I can put it that way, simplify it that way. Then this man doesn't understand that. He thinks you can run the grid of the country with renewables. It's not done anyway. Europe tried it. That's why now they are back to coal. They tried it, Chem. They failed. That's why now South Africa coal price has gone more than 100% up because it's got so much demand in Europe because they are going back to coal as a base load of electricity. I think these are the things that should be done at ESCOM. But I think it's lucky, Shem, because you remember in South Africa, if historically, if you are a white man in particular, you are inherently right, you are inherently competent, you are inherently skilled and all that. I think it's got that, you can see even those aspects that they are paraded on TV, they defend him, but the issue is that he is useless. Now, on the issue of a step aside, which is your headline, by the way, I knew that when you come here, you will ask about the headline, then you say Limpopo and KZN, they want the satellite step aside to be scrapped, as if we were talking about step aside. You want to reduce us to step aside people. That is your intention. So that you aren't going to write all these things. You are not going to show all these things to the public. You're going to show us that we disagree on step aside. But the question you are not asking yourselves about step aside. When step aside was not there, the price of fuel was 13 rand plus in this country. Now the step aside has been there for the price is 21 rand. How does a step aside assist you, Makosin, when you go to a pump station? Look at the price of bread when there was no step aside. Now there's a step aside. Look the price of bread. Look at the tonnage of especially white maize, minimum. How much was the tonnage? Now it's 4,000. It's 4,900. It's doubled. I aware that the SASA beneficiaries, the Okokos, that 1,900 they are getting, it can't even they can't in a basket, a food basket, they can't even get basic food. That thing. That's how it is expensive. Under the step aside. Step aside is like, if I can put it in an analogy, it's like when you are hunting a debug, then you leave the debug, the real meat. Step aside is diverting us. That all of you think because there's a step aside, your lives will change, you will have houses, you will have clinics, there's no such a thing. Move, Pumani step aside. Demand of us to do right things. And where's when it's implemented? For example, we've got people who have been charged here. Because you know why step aside was brought? Step aside was brought to say, you got a weak NPA, you got a dead NPA, you got a dead criminal justice system. That you charge people when they're supposed to go to a judge. Because it's easy to be excited and charge Mafia. Because your friend in a bar in Chubana, they've connived that you must charge Mafia because there's a conference. It's easy to do that. It's easy to tell a policeman, a constable, charge this one. Constable will charge. Then it's very difficult if you go to court, to a judge, to a magistrate, to prove a case. That's where the problem is. When now you want to go to a case, to prove a case, you are telling the judge, no, the person I've charged last month, I'm not ready to the judge to prove my case. Please give me time. The judge says, okay, it's fine, I will give you time. How many time you want? 2 months. Like the case of Zandile here in Etegwini, for example. Then after 2 months, you come back. The judge said, yeah, prove the case. Why did you charge this person? He said, no, I'm not yet ready to charge. I'm still investigating, in fact. I don't know why I charge him. I thought because this thing was done in Chuban. This thing was done in Chuban. Then these things that are done in Chuban are not proven in court, Chief. They're not proven in court. Now, it takes 1 year, it takes 3 years, it takes 4 years. Imagine. Then, as Nopala was saying, then you thought because you thought ANC members are stupid by tainting people and charging them, they wouldn't elect them. They elect them. They leave these ones who think they are clean because they know these ones are not clean. These are you create a system to remove legitimate leadership and create people who are not legitimate to be elected. They elect them. You said, okay, they step aside. You realize, hey, they are being elected. You said, no. Even if they are elected, they must resign. They must resign. They must not be. Now, automatically the ANC finds you guilty before anything. Now, in the ANC, you are guilty. You are condemned. Just being charged by a constable, you are condemned. You can't, your rights in Rule 5 are stripped, are taken away, and all that. Now, listen, that guy from Mpumalanga, Mandla Msibi Shem Kosiyam, he get elected there. He celebrates we disagree with his celebration. He celebrates for his election as a treasurer. He's short-lived his election, he's step aside. But because this thing was done in Chupana, they must go to a judge and prove that he's got the case. Chupana is not there now to prove a case. Then charges are withdrawn. He's now an MEC. You see? You see the problem about step aside. And in the olden days, you remember the people that were charged around 2000, the ANC was clear. Let's allow the law to take its course. Once you are found guilty, then the ANC kicks in. Because the constitution of the ANC says a misconduct is somebody who has been found guilty in a court of law. That's what the constitution of the ANC says. You don't read it. It says that. Once you are found guilty, then DC comes in. We have been found guilty. Already the ANC has got the credible evidence against you. Then you are charged. If a sanction is suspension, if a sanction is expulsion, it's done like that. If a suspension is demotion in government, it's done like that. We are not doing that because we know that most of the cases are planned in Chupana. Thank you.